Okay, hello. It is 6:31. We're going to call to order. Good evening, everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming. We're going to start this meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance and an invocation. And I did not ask anybody to do the pledge, so I will lead it. Would everybody stand with me?
God, we thank you for allowing us to gather today. We thank you for the city of Meadows Place. God, and we thank you for allowing us to bring us safely through the other side of Hurricane Beryl, and just, God, the way this community worked together to support each other and care for each other. God, we thank you for the first responders and all that they did. We thank you for all of our city officials and the way that they stepped up to care for our community. God, and we just ask you to continue to watch and protect us as we continue deal with all that's still left to deal with, God. And we just ask that you are in this meeting tonight, God. As we look at the details of the city, we thank you that you are a part of all of this. And we just ask that you are present with us and that you go before us and protect us as we leave from this place. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much. We're going to start with our reports with our police department. Chief Gary Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. As always, we'll start out with our number of accidents, which were 9. We had 3 arrests with 2,900 calls for service, 51 reports, 301 with traffic, 635 charges, 1 citation for city ordinance violation. Warnings for traffic were 121 with 184 charges. Our warnings for city ordinance violation were 11, and our total activities 3,794. We did have 1 assault, 4 BMVs, burglary motor vehicle, 0 burglary residence, 0 burglary business. Again, 12 on city ordinance with 1 citation. Criminal mischief was 7, 0 fraud, 0 robbery. On our total property checks, it was 2,581. Theft, 1. Our TLC program, UMV, we had 1. And then our TLC program, we had 46 pass, 8 fail, with 54 contacts. You can see that numbers are getting good. Looking at the stats from above, these are a little bit impacted because of Hurricane Beryl and the way we adjusted patrols during that time. And the power outages, but the warnings for city ordinance violation were 3 for solicitor, 3 for loud noise at various locations, 2 lost dog, 3 junk vehicles, citations issued for about 1 solicitor, and 0 of the accidents were in the roundabout. Going to the general report, if we could flip to page 2. Page 1, you'll see that we had the poor BMVs, but I'm pointing out on page 2, as you'll see, some of those were a continuous criminal episode where we had 3. They're all connected. You'll also see, as you go through the criminal mischief, that they also was a continuous episode. It was an episode of them attempting to burglarize. The reason we list them out separate like that is the way we do our stats and the way numbers makes us report is if nothing's taken out of the car is criminal mischief. That's to be an intent, something has to be stolen. So you can see that there was an attempt on that, and of course our CID department is working on that. Our criminal mischief was 7, is up by 1, and you can see that episode there. Our police officers did see some of, able to identify things were out of place, and you'll see that highlighted as well on their own while they're doing patrol, which helped us get these reports in. Turning to page 5, we'll go through flock safety alerts. We had 86, which is up 43 from the previous month. Stolen vehicle alerts were 15, sex offender alerts 37, but you can see that there's 17 hits and 3 repeat vehicles, and most of those are the ones that we continuously see come through. Stolen plate alerts 13, gang or suspected terrorist 12, 0 on missing persons, 1 on warrants, 7 on protective order alerts, 1 under hot list of another agency, and 0 on violent persons. During that, as you can see, we had cases where we had UUMV recoveries out of other jurisdiction on page 6. Some of these, as you can tell, all these are coming off a flock. So we're able to recover these stolen vehicles, whether arrests are made or not. So again, these stolen vehicles, some of the people inside don't know they're driving a stolen vehicle, and we have to determine that through investigation. We do identify them in case we need to file charges later. However, in most of these cases, they were defrauded themselves. As you can see, the number of arrests, we had our arrests this time were for UCW, unauthorized carrying a weapon, possession, and reckless driving. Turning to additional notes on the page 8. We had our glad to report we had our first annual awards ceremony since COVID this past month. Recognized several officers for their great work at our department, announcing Officer of the Year, and also in our promotions to sergeant, so we were able to recognize them for the first time in quite a while, and it turned out really good. Our grant status, our dispatch console is still under review. That's $197,000. We did make it to the next review, and so progress is being made. Hopefully we'll find out something around September. And then, of course, we're still seeking the in-car camera grant to update our equipment. City of Meadows Place, we'll talk about relation to Hurricane Beryl a little bit. The TDM and FEMA recovery team is in attendance, as all the Fort Bend County OEM, TDM, and FEMA recovery calls, meetings, and preparing submissions for both state and federal levels. Currently, we have 2 dispatch positions, 1 full-time, 1 part-time, and 1 full-time police officer position open, which I would believe will be filled in the next few weeks, the police officer position, and maybe 1 dispatch position. 4th of July went well. I know we forgot about that when Beryl came through, but that was a great event. We didn't have anything notable to speak of as far as events with police officers. The IAP is for the Fall Festival is in progress. And to mention just a little bit of something, because I feel remiss if I didn't, we're preparing for the Hurricane Beryl After Action Review. This will be coming up. We're shooting tentatively next week, just depending on if everything falls in place, and we've still got a lot of paperwork, as you can imagine, that we're working on. But we'll have a date announced hopefully tomorrow. Reviewing all the paperwork and submitting all the documents to county, state, and FEMA. But one of the things I wanted to do is acknowledge all the hard work and effort of the EOC team during, was consisting of police officers and public works when we stood up for the event, and this was to ensure public safety and continuity of services during the storm. This includes our mayor. Each employee went above and beyond and to complete a tedious and difficult mission, and I was proud to serve with each and every one of them. We had a lot of effort put into standing that up, and then they committed themselves to their shifts, and we stayed up the entire time. We did preliminary assessments when we could during the first part of the eye of the storm, did secondary after that, and then we started clearing on the first primary. We started clearing streets with the trees that were across them. So I'm just proud of the team that was there through the whole thing, and they worked hard continuously. So I wanted to acknowledge them all. And that concludes my report.
Thank you so much, Chief. Our next, do we have any questions for Chief?
Real quick, I love that the flock cameras are getting a lot of hits right now. It seems like they were up a lot from the last period. Would there be any benefit to having a flock camera in the middle of the city somewhere, say Dorrance and Amblewood? I'm just thinking, for instance, with the BMVs, they were traveling through the neighborhood. Would
What
that
would
have
be
helped?
more beneficial is if we had cameras on the exits, since we have them on the entrances.
Okay.
You know, that's the biggest benefit. Because they can't get in without seeing, but we don't know who's committing them. Even having it inside, you really, unless somebody catches a description of that vehicle, then we can look it up, see where they entered the city from, maybe get something. Unfortunately, usually these are out of stolen cars when they're doing these type of activity. But it gives us a point to start.
If we had exit cameras, could it be on the same pole? Is it a better price?
No,
Because-
they're across the street. They'll be on each side of the
Okay.
roadway,
Okay.
especially on divided roadways.
So
The
full
same
price.
pole would not work. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Our next report is coming from Mr. Rod Haney with Public Works.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. What are doing on tonight? This quarterly report is for the months of April, May, and June. And hopefully it won't be too long. You're welcome, sir. The sidewalk replacement program, we're budgeted $70,000 every year. So far, I've only used about 40%, and that was phase one. I have not sent out phase two yet, but that shall be done before the end of September. The weather has not been really favorable for doing a lot of concrete work, and that reflects in the street repair funding, because we're only at 49%. I had issued a large number of probably $30,000 worth of work about a month ago, and it has not been completed just because of the holiday, the hurricane, and the rain and the weather. So the month of June and July was really poor for concrete repairs. We'll catch up, don't worry. USW expenses, that was the operator for April, May, and June of 2024. Their numbers are a lot lower than we normally had. I was holding them back a little bit just to make sure that the work that was done correctly, and that's where we are with them. They're no longer with us. The water maintenance budget is about 69%, which is just about on par. But I do have some pending repairs that will be explained later. Sewer maintenance is at 38%. I have deliberately kept that a little low because we're under the contract for the $4 billion to do the main repair of the treatment plant. The first bypass on the wastewater treatment plant has indicated that first chamber has about 2 feet of sludge in it. We're not under contract with LEM to make the repairs and take that stuff out of there. Once they complete the installation of the first bypass, we'll be able to isolate that vessel and get it cleaned out. And so I plan on taking that money out of my regular maintenance budget. It'll be a fairly substantial amount of money. I'll still have to come back to council for approval. I'm sure I'll spend the rest of it before the end of the year. Page 3. Fortunately, April, May, and June for water line repairs, we only had a few of them, $7,000, $8,000. If we could hold the line, that would be great, but I know the summertime's coming, and water leaks are going to be many, many, many times more than one or two. Last year, we spent about $440,000 on water line repairs. If the trend holds here, we will not break that value this year. Page 4 and 5 is just history of those water line leaks. All the repairs, page 6. Item number 1 is a picture of one of the new gates being installed. It's very interesting to see, and if anybody wants to come up and see it when the next ones are being installed. They use that coffer to create a dry space to install the gate, and they completed the first ones today. I did the inspection on the first 2. We closed the gate, we filled them up with water, made sure they didn't leak. It worked very well. I was quite impressed with the way they'd done that. Blowers at the treatment plant, last month, we had only 2 running, but with the help of Power Scoop. Blower number 1, the motor's being reworked, and I have an estimate for, the motor is being reworked, and I have an estimate for the blower of $18,500. That has not been approved yet. 2 and 4 are operational. Number 3 is still not operational. It's been out at NTS for quite some time. I just received a motor repair estimate and the blower repair for $28,748. That has not been approved, and it'll have to come to council for ratification and approval. So within the next month or so, we will have all 4 blowers up and running, which is something I've been trying to get done with USW for quite some time.
Rod, remind me, how many blowers are running at one time?
2.
Okay.
So we should have 4. If you don't have 4 and you've only got 2, been running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. That's hard on the equipment. We should be able to rotate 2 in, 2 out. And that's my goal. That should help the longevity of the equipment that we're purchasing now.
Okay.
That's
Thank
my
you.
goal. One of the last things that USW did was the completed, item number 4, the last thing that USW did was they completed the pressure vessel repairs. That was something that I had started to approve in December of 2023, and it wasn't completed until probably the first week in June. They all have been repaired now. They're on a 5-year schedule, and you'll see the CIP 5 years out, we'll start to do the same thing again. Unfortunately, the lake pump, I've had no communication with them. They're on a priority list for us to get updated and get that new unit installed. I think we've already paid for it, or the money's been allocated at least. It was a $40,000 repair. The existing pump, we worked with it, and we couldn't keep it primed. And we had the maintenance people come out, put a priming pump on it. It just was old, and so we decided to go back with a submersible pump. Once that's installed, we'll be back on using lake water for irrigation within the park. Any questions on that one? Been sitting out there for a while. Some of the good news, Arrowhead installed 2 new parking lights at the EOC, which light up the parking lot, which was very dark. I don't know if anybody noticed the last time. This, from now on, it should be well lit. We also are working on installing security cameras at the water plants. Arrowhead has installed the power, and then in 2 locations, and another pole, and the actual working parts of it are in my office ready to be installed. So that's up and coming for security at the water plants. I'm scheduling some other repairs on the water plants. Each plant has a booster pump that has an issue. 2 of them have packing problems and leaking issues between the pump and the motor, and 1 has either a broken coupling or a shaft. I've asked Power Scoop to give me the estimates for getting those things repaired. That'll be up and coming too. Generators. Wastewater treatment plant is still not operational. We are waiting for parts from the original manufacturer to replace the broken parts on the new generator. It's probably about 6 to 8 weeks since they tried to install it. I had requested a meeting earlier this week. I've had no response. And so good news is we haven't paid for it yet, $246,000. So when they want to get paid, I guess they'll give me a call. The irrigation system, I provide you the last irrigation report. The one thing of note was that McGrath Park had some wiring issues, and there was a number of different loops that were not operational. So we get a lot of traffic out there in McGrath Park, and a little bit of damage adds up. Any questions? No, sir. The brand new generator at the EOC had a failure. It dropped its belts and overheated and shut down. Worldwide come out and did the service on that and got it up and running again. But Waukesha Pierce is who we purchased these generators from. We have a warranty with them. And so during this transition of warranty, I'm going to have Worldwide and Waukesha Pierce both doing what they're supposed to do. WPI doing their warranty, and Worldwide will be doing the maintenance. There's another issue with the generator at water well number 3. Apparently, it cycles up when the power is gone, but it won't transfer power. It's another electrical component. The good news is that the old generator at water plant number 1 worked seamlessly with some minor issues about having fuel, etc. But I want to thank Power Scoop for making sure that we went through a hurricane and had no boil water notice. And trust me, I know how hard that was, because there was a lot of work that went on behind the scenes to ensure that we did not have that boil water notice. Any other questions for now? Nope. I'll be back.
Thank you so much, Rod.
Thank you.
I will be doing the fire department monthly report for June 2024. This one is fast. We had 46 incidents total. 21 of those incidents, so just under half, were EMS calls. That moves us to the city administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple items. We've talked a lot about Beryl that happened a little over 2 weeks ago. Chief talked a lot about the work and the teamwork that occurred through that. I want to echo that. This staff is the staff you want to go through a hurricane with. And certainly through the storm and through the aftermath and recovery, which we're still going through, your staff has performed very, very well. I've often said that a hurricane comes in 2 phases. There's the actual ride out of the storm, and then there's all the work that comes, particularly in the paperwork afterwards when it comes to FEMA, et cetera. So I want to emphasize that your finance director, your assistant chief of police are working hard right now, as well as all of staff, to make sure that all that paperwork is being filed as well as we can file it, in order to make sure that we're prepared should we be eligible for any kind of reimbursement for these expenses. We had the opportunity. It was kind of interesting because we had a new mayor ride out the storm with us. And it was an interesting orientation. She got to know us, and we got to know her. And I just want to emphasize that we got to see her heart through this. And, we really got to see the way that she cared for the community. I think it was palpable, and I'm proud to serve with this mayor. Something that we talked about today that Cameron actually put out there in a post that I thought was neat. One of the ways that we always used to describe how many cubic yards of debris is being picked up is by comparing a cubic yard to a washing machine, because a washing machine is roughly 1 cubic yard. And so basically what we did was we equated how many cubic yards have been picked up so far in town. We've collected, or the county has collected, a little over 3,200 cubic yards of debris. That represents about 1.83 miles end to end of washing machines that have been picked up in Meadows Place. For comparison, Dorrance Lane is about 1.6 miles from beginning to end in our town. So that's how much debris so far has been collected. We know that the county is going to be coming back through to go ahead and collect more. As soon as we get more information about debris removal, we'll certainly pass that on. But we know that we've seen the trucks through town, and we know we'll continue to see that as well. Well, we want to make sure that tomorrow we have a good opportunity to link to some county information. We just want to make sure that we have a physical. We're going to let the county speak for themselves on the information that they have. So the other item I want to mention is the budget. As you know, we've been going through a few budget sessions. Anna Maria has been crunching the numbers. We do have a new, what you call green number at the end of the budget. That green number is changed. So what you'll find is that we're in the green about $36,000, to be exact, $36,186. That number changed from the last time we met, mainly because we were able to make some adjustments to our TMRS calculations, as well as the new information we have on the newsletter. As you know, we're talking about changing the newsletter, and so that there's some savings associated with that. By the end of this week, we'll have a proposed budget ready to go, ready to be posted, which is important. And I do want to emphasize that even though we're in the green by a little over $36,000, staff wants to encourage council to wait, because in the next 7 to 10 days, we will hopefully getting the certified numbers or the CAD numbers. That may influence or affect that number, so we want to give a little bit of wiggle room, because if the numbers come back different than what we expected, then we want to have a little bit of cushion to make sure that we can still get that balanced budget going. So, Mayor, with that ends my report tonight.
Thank you so much, Nick.
I do have a couple questions.
Yes.
So have we been able to reach out to Road and Bridge about the limbs hanging over right-of-way?
Rod and I talked about that yesterday, so, okay. So we have that on the radar, though. We talked about it yesterday.
So for council and the residents, it appears that the county's debris contractor has some contractor that may be able to come in here and cut the dead limbs that are hanging over the right-of-way. If we can piggyback on them, then they deal with the FEMA reimbursement. We don't have to. And we can also help the residents a little bit. Now, that is just limbs over the right-of-way. The residents that have dead limbs in their trees in the backyard, front yard, that's still their responsibility. And I'm seeing quite a bit of that hasn't been touched yet, so I don't know if the residents realize that's their responsibility or just haven't been able to get a contractor to respond to them yet. I do want to give the residents a little bit more leeway, but at some point we need to start reaching out and tell them, hey, you need to get those dead limbs taken down, especially the ones that are hanging over the sound wall and stuff like that. Beyond that, I will give a little precursor. It does sound like the county's going to take quite some time to get to the next sweep, and so the fence material may be here for some time. We'll get that posted tomorrow probably.
Yes, sir. Can I ask a question? Clarification on the limbs that are hanging over the right-of-way. They're only the dead limbs that they will cut?
That is my understanding, but that's why I want you to get with Road and Bridge, because they're the ones managing that contract.
If it's only dead limbs, the list will be fairly short. If it's live ones, I'll have a fairly extensive list.
I'm pretty sure it's just the dead limbs.
Okay.
It's only things that were damaged by the hurricane and pose a health safety issue.
Okay, now I understand.
Yeah, and so we've been talking a lot with code enforcement about, when is it time to go back out and start looking at some of the things that we would normally look at in regular conditions. Fences, dead shrubbery, that kind of thing. And we are giving a little bit of time. There's no question about that. But one of the things we're going to start ramping up doing, I think when we do start looking at fences again, we're going to focus on the fences that surround swimming pools, for example. Those are required anyway. And so once those are taken care of, then we can start looking at some of the other fences in town. And so that's kind of the idea moving forward. We're going to ramp it up, though, with time.
Are there any other questions for Nick? Nope. Okay, that moves us on to agenda item C. And I know number one is to talk about the Fort Bend Mobility Bond Project. But I wanted to take one moment, and not to be redundant of everybody here, but it really was, it really has been quite a couple of weeks, and I am so proud to serve with this council and this staff. The countless hours, the sleepless nights, the many phone calls. This is a group of people that really cares about people, and thank you guys. All right, Rick?
No real update. Centerpoint did say they're not going to issue any kind of final notice until we actually apply for the license agreement. That's going to require an additional survey items, basically a meets and bounds of the actual easement we're getting. So we were supposed to have a proposal for that on this agenda. We didn't receive it in time, so it'll probably be on that first meeting in August. Looks like it's going to be about $10,000, and then that'll be split between Stafford and Meadows Place again. based on how much is in Stafford, how much is in Meadows Place. But that's required to submit the permit request or license request.
Yeah, I want to make mention real quick the opportunity today. I had a lunch today with a new employee in the city of Stafford, a gentleman named Kyle Young. Kyle is Stafford's new Public Works and Development Services Director. I've known Kyle for a long time. He was most recently the city manager over at the city of Manville and is now over in Stafford. Today, I had the opportunity to give him all of the documentation associated with the Mobility Bond project and say, surprise. So we did the interlocals, gave him the information, the background, let him know that in 2021 Stafford did go ahead and pay us $20,000 for their portion of the design work. So I do want y'all to know that we did have a dialogue with Stafford today to talk a little bit about their portion. It obviously is still their choice to participate, but we did make contact today and gave them the necessary info. So.
Thank you, guys. Are there any questions? Okay, we're going to move on to our regular agenda, item D. Number 1, discussion and consideration of resolution number 2024-28, accepting the letter of recommendation from HDR Engineering Incorporated and authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with AR Turnkey Construction Company Incorporated in the amount of $608,100 for the wastewater treatment plant lift station rehabilitation project per the recommendation of HDR Engineering.
Good evening, Council. On June 25th, 2024, we opened up 2 bids for the wastewater treatment plant lift station improvement project, which consists of replacing a couple valves, checks, and plugs, also pumps. We received 2 bids at the bid opening. The lowest bidder was AR Turnkey for an amount of $608,100. We took back the bids, checked for any mathematical errors. There were no mathematical errors found. From there, we went ahead and started following up with their references, looked at their previous past history, we've got satisfactory responses back on the actual contractor. This is a straightforward project. This is basically unbolting and bolting back in, changing a electrical panel and controls, and installing VFDs. So we feel that AR Turnkey is a capable bidder that can do this project, and we recommend that the city award this project for $608,100.
Are there any questions?
Anna Maria, we've got the money somewhat.
These are
there's available funds in reserve, and this is coming out of reserve, not out of operating.
Correct.
I will move to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that, and then have a question as well. These are variable speed, correct?
We're installing variable speed onto the pumps to help you with your energy consumption and how the pumps run. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any more questions or discussion? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. All right, moving on to item number 2, discussion and consideration of ordinance number 2024-26, authorizing and allowing under the act governing the Texas Municipal Retirement System, updated service credits and cost of living adjustment, and removing the maximum contribution rate limit.
I just want to clarify that we do this every year. We do the 100% updated service credit and 70% cost of living adjustment.
I'll move to approve.
Rick, David seconds.
And as Courtney said, this is fairly routine. It's what we do every year, and we do it yearly instead of automatic because it helps reduce the amount we have to pay correctly.
Yeah, there's a way that you can front load if you put it on automatic. but there's a real cost to that, and so doing it this way does save money up front.
Is there any discussion? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, discussion and consideration of ordinance number 2024-2027, accepting the proposed capital improvement plan for fiscal year 2024-2025. Do I have a second? Thanks, Kurt. Rick seconds. Is there any discussion?
Y'all want him to go over it, or do y'all's choice? Rod, I think you're off the hook tonight. Congratulations.
All right.
The list is the same as last year. There's still not enough money to do it all.
Yes. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4. Are we good, Courtney? Okay. Item number 4, discussion and consideration of number 2024-28, amending the schedule of fees by increasing the fees for water and sewer service rates, garbage collection fees, tennis court access cards, and facility rentals. Do I have a motion, or do we want to discuss first?
I have a question. This one's involving the tennis courts. Yeah. So resident, we're at 75, non-resident 150. We were at 150 before for non-resident, or is that an increase? Same? I know.
That's a new fee. We just adopted that fee for residents because we didn't have a resident fee prior to 6 months ago. Yeah. So we just adopted that 150 fee for residents, non-residents.
Non-residents, okay. And I couldn't remember the discussion on that, so we just did that one?
Yes, 6 months ago we did.
Okay. I want to revisit next year just to see if maybe that cuts down on a lot of the activity that's been there. It's been crazy packed to where I don't recognize anyone there. Doesn't mean I know everyone in the city, but I feel like there's a ton of non-residents. And I know the new access cards, when do those go active?
August 31st.
Okay, so would
I mean, this fee
is anyone interested in discussing a higher
negotiable
fee?
tonight if y'all want to adopt a higher rate than the 150.
Right.
A higher non-resident fee?
The problem with it, Kurt, is I don't know that it will reduce anything because basically one person gets a card and lets all their friends in.
Yep. And
so if it's 150 or 300, they're all just going to chip in their $25, and one guy lets everybody in.
Question: When you apply for the permit, is there an application that says you understand what the rules are?
Yes.
Okay, so part of that would be if you abuse the rules, you lose your. I assume that's the penalty for abusing the rules is you lose your permit.
If someone reports them.
yeah,
The problem is
the
the enforcement part. You want to pull the PD to be checking tennis access, and it's never been a priority.
Yeah, I don't know if we've run into an issue like we have now, though, where you can't get a game going because there's people from all over that have found out about our pickleball courts and are using them often.
Mm-hmm.
So when we switch to the cards, does it register who comes in and who goes out by the name?
It
I know
does.
it does for our system here, but does it for the tennis court?
No, it does not.
So it's anybody
But
can
it
have-
will lock automatically behind them.
Okay.
And we are putting up new signs that they must have their access cards.
Okay. But there's no name associated with the. when they
And
swipe the card.
do we have to allow non-residents to purchase?
We were told by legal that we do, yes.
Yeah. Some cities have done crazy numbers, $800, $1,000 to, which I want people to enjoy it, but our residents are the ones paying the taxes, and I want them to enjoy the facilities.
I believe there's free access over there on the Harlem Road Park, but they've been so actual packed that they've had fistfights over the courts. So it's a popular game.
So it might be something we need to readdress once cards are available. But yeah, it's tough for residents who have not been able to play because.
So do you want to say 500?
I mean,
Or 250?
I would love to go. Yes, we can. We're not allowed to do that. Our legal team has said no. We have to allow non-residents.
It's because it is a public facility, and we did have some, I believe, federal funding to help us update the courts.
County.
You know, I don't mind pushing that number up, trying to make it easier for the residents to use our courts.
250.
If that's as far as you guys want to go, that's fine.
I mean, I don't know what other cities. I don't have a comparison, so that's. I don't want to look too mean, but at the same time, I want our residents to be able to use it.
Well, we can always do it at 250, and then if it's still impossible, we can increase next year.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve and adjust the tennis card non-resident fee to $250.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion?
There's been some chatter about the 10% increase in the water and sewer rates. This is our 5-year plan to get that fund solvent. We were actually losing money on our water and sewer for a while, so I think this is the first year where we think we're going to be in the green, but once again, it's just going to depend on the number of water breaks we get during the summer months.
Yeah, I think the other issue was the sewer, not the sewer, the trash. It's because of the fuel costs that we received as a city, we took that from 20 to 21. So that's the first time we've increased it in a lot of years. Even though we've had multiple increases to the city, we've just absorbed that. This year, we're having to pass that on. So that's why the $1 increase in the trash fee. And this is our third year to increase sewer and water. They're going into the third year now. So there'll be two more of these according to the plan that we set up back in, I think it was 2021.
And for the residents, yes, we are aware of the situation with the garbage pickup and lack of service even before the hurricane, and we're working to get that addressed with our current garbage company and then deciding whether we may need to look at renewing the contract. The problem is there are very few companies that will pick up standard size garbage cans anymore. Everybody's going to want us to switch to the 60-gallon auto lift cans if we go out to bid again.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, discussion and do I need to change anything for the? We're good, even with the number change. Okay. Item number 5, discussion and consideration of resolution number 2024-30, accepting the 10-20-year write-off per Texas Property Tax Code Section 33.05, limitation on collection of taxes from Fort Bend County Tax Assessor Collector Carmen P. Turner, MPA, PCC, CTOP.
I'll make a motion that we accept.
Do I have a second? Kurt seconds. Is there any discussion?
And just for the record, we are writing off $338.68 from 2013. So not a huge amount we're writing off.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, discussion and consideration of ordinance number 2024-29, amending the general fund revenue budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024, increasing line item 100-498010, other revenue sources, $241,566 awarded from Fort Bend County ARPA funding for the purchase of 500 kilowatt gas generator at the wastewater treatment plant. Kurt approves. Kelly seconds. Is there any discussion? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
I abstain.
Rick abstains. Thank you, Rick.
And if you're wondering why, it's because this is managed by my office.
Appreciate that, Rick. All right, item number 7. Discussion and consideration of ordinance number 2024-30, amending the general fund budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024, increasing line item 100-040-580000, Public Works capital outlay $241,566 from general fund balance for the purchase of the 500 kilowatt gas generator at the wastewater treatment plant.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, David. Kurt seconds. Is there any discussion?
Just for public knowledge, these two things offset. One is the revenue coming in, the other is the expense going out. This money came from ARPA, and it's been spent. Now we're allocating it and about to pay it. So that's making this formal.
Yep. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed?
And I'll abstain again.
And Rick abstains. Motion carries. All right, item number 8, discussion and consideration of ordinance number 2024-31, amending the general fund budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024, increasing line item 100-050-52051, police vehicle purchase, $100,000 from the general fund balance to purchase a new police vehicle and equipment needed. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Kurt approves and David seconds.
And for the public, it seems like a lot of money, but that includes the vehicle and all of the equipment that's required to go in the vehicle, which cost pretty much the same amount as the Tahoe itself. Yes. So that's why the amount is $100,000.
I just thought the chief was trying to catch up with Rod with playing with expensive toys.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, discussion and consideration of ordinance number 2024-32, setting the 20th day of August 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at Meadows Place Hall, 1 Troyan Drive, Meadows Place, Texas 77477, as the date, time, and place for a public hearing on the proposed municipal budget fiscal year 2024-2025.
I'll make a motion.
David motions. Do I have a second? Rick seconds. Is there any discussion?
I will be out of town for that meeting, so just
Thank you.
to let you all know. I think we'll still have a quorum, though. Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We're going to move on to item number 10, which is discussion regarding animal control in the city. And I have the director of Fort Bend County Animal Control here. This is Renee Vasquez. Do you want to come to the podium? That'd be great. Thank you.
Yep. Hello. Thank you for inviting me. You mentioned that there was some discussion, maybe some questions on what exactly it is we do or what we're doing at this time, and also different things, how we can help the residents of the city of the Meadows. That we're doing in other parts of the county, but we've never technically have done in the actual city limits of you guys, so we'd love to be able to help. I can go over that if you want, or if you'll have questions for me first.
Yeah. Let's listen to you first, and then I'm sure we'll discuss.
Yes. So on those few things, we've been doing a lot of free microchip clinics and vaccine clinics for the community. Doesn't cost you guys anything. We would like to see if we can, like me and you have spoken, maybe if there's a church or a library or just a big enough parking lot where, because once we put it out, people typically will come. We've done from 250 to 500 animals in the past, but if we can, I know it's hard to localize it just for the city of the Meadows, but if you guys promote it, we do it on our Facebook page and all the county Facebook pages, we might be able to to get a big number. We were thinking maybe something in the month of October, if there's a location we can come up with, and if that's something that you guys would like to do. It's free. It's free for the residents. It's free. We just need a place, because when we do cats, it's kind of difficult at times. We kind of have to bring them into a location because they could get away. It's hard to do them in a car like it is for a dog or something like that. So it's a little tricky, but we're able to do it. Obviously, the services that we provide, we do the animal pickup. We're out there picking up stray animals. We do a lot of our trap neuter return program. There is some residents in the Meadows that do take advantage of that program. At this time, I know you mentioned it's a little tricky. We've been extremely full at the shelter. We've been basically over 200 capacity, over capacity, around 200% in the last, year and a half or so. So we've changed what we do. We're not at the shelter just euthanizing animals just because we need to make room for the next batch that are coming in. So it's been difficult. We work with a lot of rescues. We transport animals. We're into everyone's face all the time, especially in the county, where we're trying to how we can get these animals out, different programs that we put in place. We don't charge for our adoptions, yet all of our animals are completely vetted, microchipped, vaccines. We basically give you stuff to take one of our pets just to give it a loving home where we don't have to house them there at the shelter.
Can you go into the new program Commissioner Meyer sponsored with the food and medical service?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a new program that we're trying to get lifted. Tomorrow we're going to be at the person that's going to supply the food for us. So we hopefully will be able to wrap it up at the end of the week. But the program is, so if anyone that is willing to or wanting to adopt a pet, between June 11th, it got approved in Commissioner's Court, to the end of September 30th of this year, any animal that gets adopted, kitten, dog, cat, whatever it is, we will supply a year's worth of dog food or cat food for that person. We will give also a year worth of flea and tick treatment, and on the dog side, it's a heartworm treatment called ProHeart, super expensive product that we're able to get for a reduced price, and we'll be able to give that. So, and it's free of cost. So we hope that people take advantage. They have been, we've probably adopted maybe close to 100 animals so far, but a lot are, kittens, so they don't give us, the space that we need with the big dogs. That's kind of where we struggle. We're able to house 90 animals. I know this morning we're at 160. So even with us being able to do all these different tactics that we like to do, it's still difficult.
Mayor and Council, I was at over the past weekend. I was at a place called PetSmart, and I was getting dog food. And I had the privilege of speaking with employees from your office for a long time with my kids, and they were giving, or they were selling or giving away as many cats as they could, and they were working very hard.
Yes.
And they were asking people to come pet the kitties and look at the kitties.
That was our first time being there. So
Is
the
that
day
right?
before we were there with dogs, and then they invited us back, so we went out with kittens and cats.
So I was impressed with their professionalism. You had a couple of volunteers over there with you
Yes, we did.
as well.
Yes.
And had a great talk with them. They knew about the animals. They knew about we talked about Meadows Place. So it was a neat thing to see them out there in the community.
That's great.
Trying to help.
We try everything and anything we can do to get out so people can see us and know that it's not just, hey, you don't have to go to the SPCA or Houston Humane. Like, hey, we exist and we have a lot of animals as well. So yes.
For our residents, what would be the very best thing if we have a dog running around the neighborhood? What would be the very best thing for us to do? Like, if there's a resident, if they're able to get it into their yard, like what should we tell our residents to do?
So right now, on April 15th, what we did is we didn't shut our intake completely from strays coming in. We still pick up injured animals, aggressive animals, all wildlife, all cats, in that we do our trap neuter return, puppies, kittens, you name it. The only thing we kind of try to minimize is just your normal, hey, could that be your neighbor's dog? Could that be a dog that just, maybe just got out? How can we help him not come to the shelter? Even with that, there's programs that we put in place. We'll talk to the people. If they're willing to foster the pet, we'll give them food, we'll give them a crate, we'll give them a cage. The animal comes in, we can vaccinate the animal. I know there's certain times where it's just not going to happen, and we do. Just call us, we'll see what we can do, how we can help, and we'll take the animal in. we've never done what I'm even saying right now, where we're basically, hey, I'm sorry, you're going to have to wait till the next day or the following day. It's usually have 6 guys that are out picking up animals throughout the whole 817 square miles that we cover in Fort Bend, unincorporated areas. But, I mean, right now it's kind of, we came a time when we had all of our hallways were full with dogs in these normal black crates, and I think we got overwhelmed, and, you know, we got way over our heads because nobody wants to euthanize animals. You know, I mean, when you start killing them, people start noticing. We got a lot of advocates that will just, you know, it's unbelievable how they come after you for us just trying to do our job. And so it's made it super difficult, but, you know, it's also something that we've been striding for. We're not a no-kill shelter, but we do function as one. So a no-kill shelter is usually, so it's called 90% of your animals, dogs and cats, leave in a live release rate. And we've been that since 2018. So we've been functioning as one, you know, trying to minimize. We still have to euthanize animals that are either court-ordered, involved in bites. They come in hit by a car. We have a veterinarian on staff. I mean, if there's nothing else we can do, like, unfortunately, you know, we do have to let them go. But we do everything and anything we can to get them out.
Can you talk about your spay and neutering clinics, or the mobile unit?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks.
So that's another thing. It's not just a microchip and vaccine clinic. We also have grants, and we have the ability of being able to send a mobile unit to a location, which, like we mentioned, I'd love to bring one, you know, here to the City of the Meadows, where we can accommodate. It's free. So we would be able. We can't do that many, but we can definitely do 12 to 15 possibly. And that's, you know, something that we can definitely discuss. That one could be done at any time of the year because it is air conditioned. The microchip clinic we usually try to do in the fall or in the spring because if the animals are, sometimes people will bring them in the back of a truck and it's just, you know, it's too hot. And if the line's moving slow, it makes it difficult for everyone, for the pet, for the owner, for us. So it puts everyone in a bad predicament. But the spay and neuter thing, absolutely, we'd love to, you know, discuss that with you guys. If you you can come up with some dates, we can start looking at how we can help. If there was more mobile units, we'd do way more. It's so, you know, they're so scarce. Like it's hard to, our actual vet has one. So she's trying to, you know, to get it moving and get it out there. But we can help you for sure. We've just never been out in this area other than picking up animals. So, I mean, how else can we help you guys? We'd love to be able to do that.
Did you guys have any questions?
Can I get a business card before you leave? My husband and I have some donations, so we'll know where to take them.
Yes, ma'am.
And then also, one thing I've noticed with the chipping is a lot of places don't register at least the name, be it the vet, the animal shelter, whatever, whoever's getting the chip. And the owners go home and they think, oh, the vet's done it or whatever. And then when the animal's picked up, there's no contact number on it.
Yeah.
Can we, if we do the chipping, can we have someone there with a computer to help?
That's what we do.
Paperwork.
Yes, ma'am. And we do that because we're the one. Can you imagine us? We pick up hundreds of animals and you scan them and you go and try to get it and it's not registered.
Yes.
So guess what? That's just a stray dog with a microchip and we cannot get him. We can't reunite him back with them, with the owners. So what we do is we do it. So it's a lot of it's funded through Petco. So all the things, achievements that we do, we're able to get big grants from them. So we're able to have the software, have the system where we can, as soon as we get all your information, you're already in the system. That pet is in our system. So if that animal was to get out, it shows it belongs to you. It's Fort Bend County's microchip, and you know it's anywhere you go and scan it, it's going to show that it's your pet.
Good.
So yes, ma'am. Yep. It's a big deal because, like I said, we deal with it all the time. So yeah.
Well, no, because the residents contributed, and we bought a scanner for Kim. I don't know if you know Kim Parker. She's very active with the animals and all. And
I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And she goes out and scans them. It's like, Kelly, there's nothing on this chip.
Yeah, it's not registered. Yeah.
And I know when we got our animals chipped, I went home and I thought the vets did it or wherever you had it done, and nothing's ever been registered. So I had to go on and then do my brothers and everybody else's in the family.
I remember when we first started, it was a form, and we would give it to the person, and if they didn't fill it out, it wasn't, and it was already with a stamp, and people would still not turn it in. So we don't do that anymore.
Good.
It's automatically registered right when we input the microchip. Yes.
This conversation is a tricky one because we love our animals. But one of the things, Council, I think that I would like us to go over is some of the, and we don't have to make decisions about this tonight, but I would like us to look at the ordinances that we have. We have some kind of vague language, specifically running at large, at heel. There's just some language I think we might need to discuss, and I think we need to come at this in a few different ways. I think we can all agree we don't want dog attacks happening in our neighborhood. We don't want pets running around. Mr. Vasquez has so many great resources that I think we're underutilizing here in Meadows Place. I'm going to work with his office about getting us a microchip clinic and a vaccine clinic here in the fall. I'll definitely be talking to you about this, Colleen, and potentially one again in the spring. I think Cameron and I will be working on pushing information out and making sure that people know that these things are happening and getting their pets microchipped and registered. And potentially having a mobile unit for spay and neutering here, even though we can do such much smaller numbers with that, but encouraging our residents to take these steps and providing them for our residents, making it very, very easy for everybody to do this. But I think for us on our end, I think taking a look at these ordinances and seeing if there is verbiage that needs to be replaced or adjusted, so that we know when a citation needs to be made. We know what's enforceable. Chief and I have talked about this quite a bit, about what can be enforced, what can't be enforced. I just think that this is a conversation that probably needs to be ongoing here. It's not an easy one, and I don't think I don't think it's ever just going to be something that we don't need to discuss. But those are my thoughts about that, and I really appreciate you coming tonight.
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Are we wanting to get into the weeds on the verbiage right now?
We can.
Okay.
Sure. I sent in your backup, there's an email that I sent back last month.
Yes, you're good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That really took a real world incident and applied our ordinance to it. And in the backup, there's also Chapter 90. Chapter 90 is our animal control regulations ordinance. And so from a staff perspective, as you know, I always say that we want to make sure the ordinances that we're charged with enforcing are as clear as they can be. And so I think there has been a question that's come up, certainly that we've talked about, related to running at large, particularly when it comes to dogs in town. There are two main components of running at large. If you go up to the definition section, at large means that they are not confined within the owner's premises or under the owner's control at heel. So from staff's perspective, the way we read that is there are two conditions out in the real world where dogs would not need to be on a leash. Number one would be on your own property, and number two is if the dog is at heel. Now, the definition is not clear as to what at heel is, but those are the two conditions under which a dog doesn't have to be on a leash based on the code.
Well, what's the definition of premises? Is that inside the house or outside the house?
Well, that's a good question, too. It says within the owner's premises. And so if premises is in the house, then certainly you don't have to be on a leash. If premises means the border of your property.
Because I think the question became, can I have my dog in the front yard without a leash?
Correct. And so premises isn't defined in the code book, nor is at heel. And so if we want to clarify that, then I think that's what I would encourage council to deliberate tonight.
I want to remove at heel because dogs can be at heel next to their owner walking down the street, but then they see another dog and they're going to, that at heel goes away. A leash is going to do a lot better than a command.
Right, and a well-trained dog is well-trained until it's not.
Yep. So I would propose to remove at heel. I don't know if anyone else would agree on that.
I'm fine with that because, everybody says, oh, my dog doesn't leave my side, and then it does, and then they're like, well, it's never done that before. Doesn't matter. And so if we just get rid of that clause, it's if you're outside, you're off your property, it's on a leash. And then I think we need a definition of premises, because we really need to define that. Can you have it in the front yard without a leash? And once again, it's a well-trained dog until it's not, and it takes off across the street to attack another dog, a cat, child, whatever. And some people are fine with dogs. I'm fine with dogs. Other people are deathly afraid of them. And they can be across the street and the dog's barking at them, and they're petrified. They can't move.
Mm-hmm.
We can define premises in this definition section. I hate defining things in definitions like that, but if y'all want to limit premises to being inside the structure or inside the home, we can do that. Or we can just say within the boundaries of the property. Either one.
Well, I mean, what's the rest of council think? Should you be able to have your dog in your front yard without a leash?
I love the idea, but again, it can turn bad very, very quickly. And so to prevent that, I would say no. Can't have it in the front yard.
Kelly wants an exemption for Bucky.
I'm open to hearing if there's any residents that have thoughts on it as well. I want to hear it.
I agree, unfortunately, because sometimes my dog gets out for a little bit and stays in the yard most of the time, but we just had that same thing happen. There was a stray cat running, and he took off, and we got him, right back, but nothing happened, but had never done that before, and didn't do anything, but it's just proof that it could. I do, though, we keep using terms, and we keep saying in the residence, but so are we considering the residence by the fence line of the backyard as well?
Well, and it does say within the fence. Okay. So it's legal to have them without a leash within the fence.
Okay, because I just kept hearing premises, and then y'all started using the term residence.
Okay. So
there
was a second part there that you didn't go over.
Okay.
And the question is, Kurt, do we want to do this unilaterally, or do we want to? I mean, it just came up. We really didn't tell the residents to come speak about this.
Mm-hmm.
So do we want to actually take action tonight, or do we want to?
You
hold?
actually cannot take action tonight.
Okay.
It's just discussion.
Okay.
So we would have to bring it back.
So I would
Any
say,
changes at the next agenda.
I'd say if you want, start polling your neighbors, or we can hold a public hearing at the next meeting just to get input before we propose what exactly we want to do.
Yeah, part of the discussion needs to be what's the enforcement and what's the exception. Somebody's dog escapes, they bolt. I mean, if it happens continuously, if there's a habitual, that's different than a one-off, and I think that's going to be the hard part of who and how do we enforce it.
Because the problem is, it's going to be people we know whose dogs get out. That's one of the reasons I don't have a dog anymore.
If I could speak to that, if you don't mind, real quick, we also had a situation where, and when I say this, the police department were wonderful with helping us. But I know there's going to be pushback on this thing, but so what are you going to do about it? We had our cat was scratching at the door, yelling and screaming at us. By the time I got to the door, 2 stray dogs got our cat and killed our cat right in the front yard. We called the police, but they were just stray dogs. They tried. They went and searched and looked for them. They came back and talked to us, but there was nothing they could do because they were stray dogs that were gone. But I know there's going to be pushback on saying, well, you're going to do this. What are we going to do? So there's just still has to be that realistic, the reality of what can we do? We're not trying to penalize residents. We're trying to keep everybody safe.
But you bring up a good point. A lot of the problems are dogs that are completely running loose. They are not owned by people within the neighborhood. They're either coming down Ainsworth, coming down West Belfort, coming down the bayou,
And that's
or
why
getting
I'm sharing
dumped.
that, 'cause that's going to be some of the pushback that may happen.
And so, we write all this, and then the dog's not chipped, or it's a blank chip, We're not going to be able to find the owner. So, I mean, it's a lot of chasing our tail. No pun intended.
And based on what I'm getting text messages right now from people watching live, so I think it's worth a discussion. And one thing that someone brought up that I noticed, because I live across the street from it, is people using the baseball field as their own little dog park, which I don't believe is allowed. And I know, I assume tickets have been written for that in the past, or at least warnings. I know it doesn't break down details in the police report. So
Well, I doubt the PD is doing it actively. They might do it on a complaint, but they're not going to be proactively, oh, there's someone with their dog running loose.
And I don't know if I want to be the one to call on every single one that's...
Well, and the thing is, it's never been, is that where we want our police focusing their attention? We want them looking at the flock hits. We want them patrolling. We want them enforcing speeds on West Airport. And so to pull them off to chase dogs and cats has just never been a priority.
Yeah. So, worth discussion.
So we can definitely bring back a proposed ordinance at the next meeting that removes that heel. If you want to, we can maybe change premises to home or some other word that you prefer. Premises is pretty vague. Staff reads it as within the confines of their property, but we could be clearer on that. It is a Class C $500 max fine, provided that a citation is issued.
Well, is it automatic or is it that stepped?
It's not. It's not. Yeah, it doesn't refer back to 10.99. So a lot of our codes refer back to 10.99, which is that stepped one, the 50, 150, 500. This one is just straight 500, up to 500.
So first time your dog is out and someone calls and complains about it, you're going to receive a ticket that says up to $500.
Correct.
And the judge is going to levy $500.
Possibly.
So, well, no, I mean, that's where we've been in the past. It's been $500 or $2,000, whatever that max is. And they can come up and talk about, oh, I don't have the money. And he looks at their $1,000 iPhone and he says, yeah, you do. And so that's where we've gotten a lot of complaints when we go into these zero tolerance things, is when that first ticket's $500 and
Sorry, maybe look at as we redo this and rewrite it, going back to that stair step.
Yeah, we can point it back up to 1099. Sure.
And it can be, maybe we split it and we say common infractions go to the stepped one. Your dog bites somebody or whatever, you're going straight to the maximum. So,
how does council feel about the penalty provision? What do y'all want us to bring back? We need some clarity on that. Right now, it's up to $500, up to the judge to decide. If we point it up to 10.99, that's more deliberate. It's the one y'all changed way back when we talked about trash cans, you remember? That is 50, 150, 500. We can either point back to 10.99 or keep it as is, or talk about different violations for different kinds of citations. It doesn't do that right now. It doesn't talk about if the dog bites you, it's this, and if the dog gets out, it's that. It's not. That's not how it's written.
Can we bring back a more specific? Sorry, Cameron. Can we bring back a more specific penalty provision, like Rick was saying, like for?
we can. It just becomes more complicated. We need to make sure it's vetted with the attorneys.
Okay.
For sure.
So that we don't do something that somebody's using some loophole to get out of it.
And then there's the whole, I'm not in law enforcement, then there's the whole forensics of it. Was it this dog that bit you? How do we know it was this dog that bit you? You can see where it can go sideways.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have what we need? Okay. I know this is a sticky conversation, and I really appreciate you guys doing this with me. I really, really do. All right. Last item on our agenda is item number 11. Discussion regarding parking regulations in the city. This, again, is just a discussion. I'm going to, I I'm going to start by saying that we looked through all of the established no parking zones. Were you able to drive them?
We did.
Okay.
Sorry, Mayor.
No worries.
Are you?
I just wanted to say that we looked through all of the established no parking zones, and I would really like to add a zone after Nick goes through what he's going to go through.
So one of the things that we talked to the mayor about doing before tonight is, if you look on your backup, we have Chapter 70, which is traffic regulations. Chapter 70 discusses a number of different regulations on the city's books, everything from parking in front of sidewalks to no parking zones, really just kind of traffic control in general. The end of Chapter 70, if you look at 70, what is it, 71, actually 72, so that should be 72, yeah, 72.01, you can see that there are no parking zones that are identified on a table. Staff went out and field verified to make sure that those signs are still in place. They all are still in place. Two things I want to make mention. The first one, it says along the east and west side of Amblewood. That's there near the pool. A couple of years ago, we actually modified that and took the west portion out, so it's actually just along the east side. What's out in the field reflects the ordinances that have been written, so this is not correct, and the code book will change it. But what's in the field is actually what we've done via the ordinances. The other thing is that that fourth column, or that fourth row there, west side of Mulholland, that's there, and it does say from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. Believe it or not, there's also no parking signs on the east side of Mulholland as well. Can't find where that's in the ordinances anywhere. Don't know why they're up, but we're not going to go out and pull them down until we figure out that reasoning.
Fix the ordinance. That was done because when there was parking on Mulholland right there at West Airport, we had a lot of either crashes, head-on crashes, or near misses.
Couldn't turn.
Because it's when you're down to one lane, in or out, there's no way to get off of West Airport.
Okay. So we'll have to look at modifying that to do, because the signs are up. The signs are up.
There should have been, I remember we passed an ordinance. It's a matter of finding when that was.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we've got 2016-08, but...
What you can also do is, if you want to narrow the time frame, use Google Maps, drop into Street View, and there's a way to look back in time on the Street View, and you'll be able to go find maybe when the signs went up.
So everything else is out there as written in the ordinance.
Nick, real quick, on one of them, Dorrance Lane from Amblewood Drive to a point located 300 feet west of the intersection along the north side there. Is there an end? I don't know if there's a sign that denotes.
There's not. Yeah, there's not a sign at the end. I noticed that too. There's one at the beginning, but there's not one at the end of 300 feet.
Could we add one to the end?
Yeah, we may want to look at a sign pointing the opposite direction, no parking, and we can do that.
I know there's been a lot of confusion, like with swim meets, etc.
So the whole reason for those ones on Dorrance were because of swim meets.
Yeah.
Do we still have the same problem? Do we want to maintain those? No parking. I have noticed during swim meets, people are parking in those areas. I don't think the PD has been overly aggressive in enforcing that, just because people are coming in from other cities. Do we want to go write them a bunch of tickets type thing?
And in the past, it didn't happen this year, but in the past, an officer has come up and we've made announcements that say, hey, if you're parked here, it happened this year too?
We announced this year. We moved. Yes. And we did have a very concerned resident. I spoke with somebody right after the very first swim meet. She had seen kids running between cars, which is the issue, right?
Right.
Because we have lots of kids from other places, and even our kids, and we don't want them running between cars. But I do think we need a sign that ends.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Where the parking
We'll do that.
where the parking is. Chief, did you have comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, as Rick mentioned, before we were, when we first got it up and people were still doing it, we were pretty aggressive with going out and tagging them, writing warnings and tickets. But typically, if the swim team can announce it beforehand, people will move, and we've been kind of being a little bit more generous with it. We only do it if it becomes a real issue. Because, again, we don't want to cite everybody. You'd be writing all parking tickets all day.
When they get belligerent, they get the ticket.
Okay. Can I talk about the one that I want to add to this? Great. Yes. Okay. We're going to talk about this. I would like to add a no parking zone on one side of Valencia. I don't know if it's northeast, southwest. It's when you're looking at Valencia from Dorrance, it's on the right.
It's going to be on the southbound side facing towards the school.
This is a habitual problem.
Yep.
This is a habitual problem. It is every single morning. It is every single evening, afternoon, during pickup. This is something that I'm working with my school on about communication, but really at the end of the day, it's the same with the swim meet. We don't want kids running between cars. That turn, where Valencia turns, is especially dangerous because large vehicles can't go through the middle when there's parking on both sides. So I would like to add a no parking ordinance, a no parking zone for a section of Valencia, and it can just be we could do a time frame if we wanted to do it in a morning and an afternoon, but that would be my request, since this tool exists for us, and that is a zone that is continually dangerous. I would like to add that to the list.
I'll add my 2 cents, being this is my world. So Fort Bend County Engineering assists all the school districts with these types of requests all over the county, and generally all you're going to do is chase it further down the street. And so as long as we're aware of that, they're either going to just go around the corner on Valencia and park there. Now you're going to have a whole new group of residents complaining. I understand that where they're doing it because you're trying to turn off a Dorrance, and it's the same problem as what we've got in Mulholland at West Airport. Add to that, you are now going to take away parking in front of someone's house. And that can get quite dicey with residents when they park there frequently, their own vehicles, because you either need to do it by time of day or they can't park there ever. And so we could do it, say, from 7 to 9 and probably 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, because some people line up like an hour early. And just because, but that residents can understand that they can't park there during those hours. No, we can't issue them a permit or anything like that to park there during their vehicle during their times.
At that spot on Valencia on the east side, so you've got 11931 Valencia down towards Jessup's house, and no one parks their personal vehicle on the street that I ever see. We walk that every day, all day.
And so what the county does is we actually send out a survey of residents. Do you want parking banned in front of your house or not? And we have to get a consensus of the group that's most affected before we will ban that parking. And so that might be something we want to do, is just get feedback from those actual residents. Do you have any issues or not of us doing this? Now, the next problem you're going to run into is they're going to say, well, I didn't want it in front of my house. I wanted that sign in front of somebody else's house to just cross over my property. But that's just something we're going to have to deal with. The no parking signs, I can't remember if the spacing's 150 feet or 300 or 200 is about the max. You have to be able to see it easily, or the judge will throw the tickets out.
I really appreciate your perspective in all of this. I am willing and happy to do the legwork for this. I think it's particularly difficult in that section because it is such a short turn. Like there's only a few houses before the turn, and that's where it gets real dicey.
Now, I will tell you that issue is probably older than you are.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But I think this is a solvable problem. Would love to hear from you.
Yes. Those that do not know me, I'm the Miss Debbie, the Friendly Neighborhood Crossing Guard at Dorrance and Valencia. And all the cars there make me lose my mind. There's like 20 or 30 every morning and every evening. In the morning it's a little less bad because they come and go at different times. In the afternoon it's horrible. And I wouldn't suggest just the no parking on one side of Valencia signs, but on both sides of Valencia. And it does only need to be between like 7 and 8:30 a.m. and 3 and 4 p.m. maybe to do the job. And I think if they couldn't park along all Valencia till it turned on to Alston, and they parked down along Alston, it would be much better because it's not all the congestion right there where there's 30, 50 kids coming across the street, and I'm still standing in the street crossing ones across Dorrance, and they get on the other side and they scatter in the middle of Valencia. There's cars on both sides that are pulling out that already have their kids in the car. And kids are running everywhere to get in their cars with the parents, and the parents don't have control over them, and it's absolutely horrible. They also 10 or 20 cars parked down the north side of Dorrance, and I would say signs need to go up there as well, because it's absolutely horrible and a complete danger to the parents and kids that should be walking, because the parents don't want to get in the drop-off pickup line or they're running too late. And now this year I think school's starting a few minutes earlier and coming out a few minutes later, and the ones that can't even get there early enough now to get in the drop-off pickup line, it's going to be even worse when school starts earlier. And it's just horrible. There's kids on bikes. I know your daughter's bike. And yes. I tell them stay on the sidewalk when they get over there, but they don't, especially the older one, and then the little one follows her in the middle of the street. And I tell them y'all need to get on the sidewalk.
I'm going to get him, Miss Debbie. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, it's terrible, 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 and I don't know that, something needs to be done before somebody does get hit or killed, and then, I wouldn't want that to happen before something could be done about it, because it's absolutely horrible, and there shouldn't be no one coming out that gate except bikers and walkers, and there's, 20, 30 parents and kids parking all along there, and some don't even park, they just roll up and the kid hops out, and that's even worse.
Right.
It's like a nervous wreck to me every morning and afternoon because it's horrible.
Well, we really appreciate what you do over there, and you absolutely have a front row seat to how dangerous this is. And I want you to know that this is something that the teachers are talking about, administration is talking about, and we're doing our very best at the city to address as much as we can, because my goal in life is to not be on the news. I don't want to be on the news. I want to keep these kids safe. So I really appreciate what you do. Debbie, for the record, can I get your last name?
Braund.
Before Debbie leaves the mic, so at the county, we won't take direction from any individual campus or principal. It all has to come through the school district. So what I might say is before the city starts doing something, we might want to engage with Stephanie Denton, which I believe is your supervisor, and maybe just go over the entire school area. Now that the new school's been open for a couple of years, do we need any changes in signage, whether that's the overall parking issue, where we're crossing the kids, how the crossings are marked? I know we coordinated with Stephanie a couple of years ago and we added the flashing signs.
And that mid-block stop sign on Pender as well. Remember that?
Correct. And so, Stephanie is well-versed in this, yes. in both the crossing guards as well as the overall routes to the school and how it affects things. So it'd probably be worthwhile for us to just look at the entire school area again.
I think that's a really good idea. Thank you, Rick.
And it's also my understanding that not only Meadows, but also Stafford, Sugar Land, Missouri City, all the campuses all deal with the same issue, but since we're only a square mile city with less population, it seems like it would be easier for us to take care of the issues than some of the bigger ones. And also another issue that I've noticed is, I don't know the name of the street, but I think it's your street. Yeah, maybe that there's not even a crosswalk or stop sign or crossing guard there. And to avoid the 5 minutes it takes to walk down to me, cross where I am, go in the gate and walk around the half a mile loop to get to the door where the school is. I don't know who designed that, but
An architect.
cut across right there at your street, and that's dangerous as well. Parents and kids both, and they should be coming down to me, and they don't do that either. So a simple fix to that, I think, would be to put a fence across where that opening is, and that would keep them from going in there, and then maybe that would make them come down to me to cross.
That's the only thing, is a physical barrier is the only thing that's going to prevent it, because, and this is where Stephanie will come in, because we deal with this all over, where let's say the HOA wants to add a crossing, and engineering will contact Stephanie, and she's like, absolutely not, because she can't get enough crossing guards anyway.
Right, it may not be in the budget or whatever.
And even when there's a budget, half the time she can't get enough crossing guards.
Right.
And so when you open up that opportunity by creating that crosswalk and encouraging the kids to cross there, you're just encouraging them to bypass the crossing guard.
Right, so if we could put up the physical barrier of the fence, that would keep them from going in there, and then maybe they would walk down to me.
But if the fence is on the school property, then the school district has to do it.
That'd be something to mention to Stephanie then too, as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So this is another one of those agenda items that is there more? There was more for parking that David, you wanted to talk about?
I'll turn my microphone back on. This one has to do with the number of vehicles parked. I've seen some homes in my touring of the neighborhood of 7 or 8 vehicles at a particular residence, 2 or 3 in the driveway, 4 or 5 on the street, all of them with temporary tags. They're clearly, it's either a business or businesses, or they somehow have a lot of residents, a lot of people that work for a particular dealership, and maybe they'll have a loaner car. I don't know what the answer is, but it doesn't look normal to me. And I remember a couple of years ago we had, I think we actually had an enforcement of it. It was unregistered vehicles or vehicles out of tag that were parked, a number of them, and I think there was maybe some wholesale trading or something. I don't know what the situation was, but we don't really have anything in our code today to limit that, and I don't know how we draft that ordinance. I think because we're a general law city, we have to follow the guidelines that there can't be less than 2 allowed, and maybe there's a cap or a limit, but I'm not quite sure how we address that with the ordinances. But I think we do have some places where people abuse their residents, and it either becomes a business or it becomes a rolling car lot. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not normal to see that many cars at a particular residence. I mean, even when you got a family of 4 teenagers, that would be 6 cars. They're not all going to be there at the same time, and they're not all going to be temporary tagged. So I don't know how we address that or how we deal with it.
So is the issue number of vehicles or the issue that many temporary tags? Because I think those are 2 separate issues that would be approached differently.
Yeah, I would say it's probably number of vehicles, but the ones I noticed, because I'm seeing them all on a street, and the neighbor, it's one house. So all the parking places for that particular section of Dorrance are taken by these temporary vehicle tags.
We've got a house on the corner of Alston and Cedar Form as well. There's a few others. The libertarian in me has a hard time with this issue because, like you said, you got 4 driving teenagers, and you've got a spare Jeep or recreational vehicle. You could easily have 7 vehicles. I've got 3 at my house, so it's never been an issue for me, and I've got a very long driveway. Other people have very short driveways. What I will tell you is banning parking is a good way to have a complete new council. So
that's why I'm bringing it up as a question and not a proposal. Because I understand. I mean, at one point we had 5 vehicles, and we don't have it. Our driveway is 26 feet long.
Yeah. So I mean, I would say once again, do it as a workshop or a town hall or public meeting to see, one, is this a concern for residents? And then two, what's the appetite for starting to limit the number of vehicles?
Well, it maybe it's not that big an issue, but the other issue then becomes, and I know it came up last year, and Chief, I don't remember how it was addressed, but we did have a lot of turnover of vehicles that were not registered or not licensed, and I don't remember how that.
Yeah, we handled that through the deal, but the ordinance that we could effectively take action on that type of is running a business out of your residence. So that's two different things. If they're running a business, then that's totally different. If you got family members, I would hate to see us try to enforce, you can only have 2 vehicles and they got 4 kids kind of thing. But a business we can look at, especially with temporary tags, to see if it's legit.
While you're up there, Chief, sorry, is there and I know I've read this and I can't remember it offhand, is there a limit to how long you can park on a street and not move the vehicle? Is there some that have spider webs growing all down from the tires? I mean, they've been there
before, yeah. They could, it was, if they're there for a considerable amount of time. We used to be able to mark tires and see if they've moved or not. Now we end up marking curbs because you can't do that anymore, touching someone's property. But if it's been there for a considerable amount of time, we have to prove that in court. So we'd have to figure out a way to do that. You're talking about it. If it's let's put it this way: if it's an abandoned vehicle, junk vehicle, doesn't have the proper tags on it, then we can take action. If it's parked on the street, if it's illegally parked, we can take action. If it's been parked there and not moved, and I have to look up the exact, and I think an ordinance says, I don't remember how many hours because I don't write the tickets anymore.
Yeah, I think it's been a while since you've been on patrol. 72 hours, I think.
I didn't want to say that. I was going to say 72, but I didn't want to put say something that was incorrect. But yeah, we can do that. But if somebody comes by now, the police officers, we're not going to be looking to see how long a car's parked on the street. I'm just going to let you know it's too many other things we've got to be looking at. Yeah. But if somebody makes a complaint, hey, this has been here for several days, we'll go out. And typically what happens, though, is we go out, we either mark the curb or we've tagged it, and then it's either gone before we get there or it's moved. And now we know it's moved, then just that timestamp starts over.
Okay. No, that's fair.
Yeah, they'll start playing the game. They roll it 3 feet forward, roll
and
it 3 feet back.
And that's the thing. If they move it, it's an operable vehicle that's moved and it's legally parked.
It has to be current registration on it, all right?
Yes.
Correct. Because I've noticed some of the vehicles that are parked a long time.
The spider web ones?
Yeah.
The way staff differentiates the junked vehicle ordinance is that if the vehicle's in the right-of-way, it's PD's jurisdiction. If it's on private property, it's code enforcement's jurisdiction. So if there's an expired sticker and it's in the driveway, typically that'd be
code enforcement.
If it's in the street, that's PD. And they're trained to know who to go to address that, depending on where the vehicle is.
Yeah, so especially the business stuff, we can look into that. Typically it takes a complaint coming in. You bet. Anybody? Anything else? Okay.
All right, is there any further discussion on agenda item 11? Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Ms. Debbie.
My 2 cents on this topic. I'm on a roll tonight. My residence is in the general area of where the human trafficking house is or was. And that was the issue at that house. 7 or 8, 9, 10 cars parked all around it all the time. Temporary tags. It's so that could be the issue at some of these other houses too, maybe. I don't know.
Thank you for making that connection for us. I appreciate you, Debbie. All right, with no further discussion, we're going to move on to consent agenda.
The motion, we approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion from David and a second from Kelly. Do we vote on this one? Okay, since I have a motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Moves on to item number F, audience comments. Did anybody want to speak tonight? Kelly.
Well, Chuck snuck off before I could say anything, but I don't know if y'all know his mother passed recently and everything, and she was a long-time resident coming up here and everything and participating and all, and I was going to offer my condolences, but he hobbled out here quicker than I could get to it, so I'll just chase him down at his house.
Miss Audrey was an amazing lady. We lived a few doors down from her, and she loved our kids really well.
Mm-hmm.
Every birthday, holiday, she'd come down with candy, with gifts. Super sweet lady, so she will absolutely be missed.
I think they're fourth generation out here.
Yes.
52 years and 4 generations. That's incredible. Any more? Okay, without objection, this meeting stands adjourned.